This is part 2 of the interview with Odalis. We're going to get into some more personal branding, videography, filmmaking, photo sort of things. Good value in this. Let's get into it. I guess enough talking trash about the star, but if someone was interested in starting what you do, why should they?
Oh, what I do? I just feel like it's a good outlet, especially for somebody, like when I was in my gap year, I was trying to find myself. I had just come out of high school. Obviously, I feel like the person I was in high school wasn't true to me.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know a lot of my friends, I recently met up with one of my friends during the summer. She's always like, you changed so much. And I'm like, yeah,
it's growth.
why. Yeah, it's a growth. So I feel like if you just give yourself the chance to be creative, you find yourself really easily. And like I was saying, some people might not like your stuff, and that's okay. Don't take it too hard. I made a video once for my Instagram. I put so much effort, so much editing. Not that many people liked it, and I was kind of bummed out. But I was like, you know what? I enjoyed it. So,
yeah, as long as you enjoy the process. And like, you got to start somewhere, of course. Like in any craft, it's just the time and the passion that fuels it, for sure. I know I already asked you, but about freelancing, have you charged for any of your work or anything like that?
So during the summer, my cousin, he had a gender reveal party. So I did kind of charge for that. It was my first, like, I guess freelance work.
Oh, cool.
I had a lot of fun with it. It was kind of stressful because I did not know what I was doing. I was just kind of there taking pictures and they liked them. So, it was good.
That's good. Yeah. It's a little bit of like imposter syndrome when you first get started, because it's like, am I really good enough to get paid for this? But then you realize how sometimes people are very easily impressed with a lot of things, like even with some of the basic stuff that you do. Or sometimes I'm on a shoot and I show them the pictures and it's like, I don't think they're that good because I haven't had a chance to like go home and edit them, and they're like, oh my god, these are spectacular. Like, I love these. And it's like, oh well, I was just showing, I might delete this. Like, it just depends who you're working for. Friends and family is definitely like a good boost too. Like, have you charged for anything else? Like, done any work for other people too?
Not really. I should have charged my sister for her graduation pictures, but I did not, because they came out really good. I was surprised.
Okay.
But yeah, no, a lot of stuff I don't really charge because I guess I do it with my friends and with my family, and it's more of a like, I want to build my portfolio, so don't worry about it.
Yeah, get some stuff to show for first, and then like people will see that you have stuff, and it's like, oh, okay, this person's for real. So what was your biggest and most profitable gig? Was it like the family work and stuff like that? Like,
I guess so. The baby shower with my cousin, I've never done anything like that, and it was fun. Their setup was also so beautiful, and like the way the sun was positioned so they have like fireworks in the back, so they have like a little like letters with lights on there. It said "Oh baby," and it had like all the pink and blue around, and then they had the there were fireworks, but the powder also came out with the gender color. And it was so cool because the sun was like back there, but not
just
really.
Gleams through.
And then you could just see it.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So I really only charged like $40 for it.
Oh, okay.
Because my cousin, he paid for our stay at an Airbnb, so I was like, okay, that's a good portion.
There you go.
I'll just take like a 40. It's okay.
Yeah.
But yeah, I really enjoyed that.
That's cool. Yeah, I mean, definitely now that you have like those really great pictures, you could definitely show for it and stuff. Do you have like a website or anything?
I had one. I have not built on it, but I feel like I need to restart it again.
Yeah. I think it's great for everybody who is in the creative space to have their own website, like with their own name, like attached to it, with their face on it. Yeah. Like to show for that, because I feel like having your own website and showing that to people is cool. Like in general too, it's like, oh, you have your own website? Yeah, I do. So
that's true.
Instead of like the .wix.com or whatever, it's like you have your own domain, and like it's solid. Like I've started to put my videos, like host them on my website. So instead of like linking to a YouTube video, it's like jeffreyscottmedia.com/the video title. And so like I think it's cooler to represent, like, I have my videos hosted on my website. It's like more professional, I guess. I like doing that.
Yeah, it's probably better than me just pulling out my phone and being like, look at my Instagram. Let me go through my photos.
I mean, hey, that's good too, especially for the photography side. Like people like the Instagram and like being able to scroll through it, comment on it, see what other people think, because like the comments and likes are just social proof for like if other people like it or not, and the following too. Like I know we shouldn't like obsess over followers and like count, but when it comes to like the business side and trying to get people to find you attractive with your work, it starts to matter. Like to be honest, it starts to matter. Like mental health wise probably shouldn't matter, but when it comes to like should someone pay me, it probably should matter. What was your worst and best experience working with a client or the Star or Luminescent or any work that you've done?
I mean, this happened like 3 years ago. It was my senior year of high school. So I was the editor-in-chief of the newspaper. We had an editor-in-chief of the yearbook. I was under the staff, and throughout the year before, they had dropped, we were both like in each other's staff, they had dropped newspaper. I can't lie, I kind of was, mad. I was kind of pissed off, but I was like, it's whatever, I'm still friends with them. I'll stay with the yearbook. And just as the year went by, I just couldn't stand it. I had a situation where one of the guys in the yearbook that used to be in my newspaper team, he kind of like talked down on the newspaper in front of me. It was in front of me, and I got super mad. And that was probably the worst experience. And I think that's why I didn't pick up a camera for a while, because I was like, I never want to do that again. I never want to be working with people like that. And that was like my hardest, especially because I was editor-in-chief of newspaper, so that was like my baby. And to see people like trash it and try to go against it, I was like,
like a personal attack. I would think it would be more of like a team collaborative process. It just seemed like two separate sections. It was two separate sections, and my advisor, she tried her best to like try to reconcile this, but I feel like it just got into the point where it was no longer like, I just couldn't do it. Also, we had a situation where I started a project and she presented it to the yearbook, and then one of the girls from the yearbook kind of slid in there and took it from me. Oh, stole it? How does that happen?
So we used to do like senior spotlights, and I was in charge of we were all in charge of the Instagram, which probably wasn't the best idea. Probably only one of us should have been in charge. And I brought it up. I was like, I want to do senior spotlight this year. Like, I wanted it to be a newspaper thing. Like, I want to work on it. And she brought it up to the yearbook team because she wanted us both to do it. And then before I knew it, like, I walked in one day and she was already like editing the picture and doing it herself. And I was kind of like, what's happening here?
Stole it right from you. So did you present it, or you said the advisor presented it?
She brought it up to them. I wasn't in the room. I was not there when it happened.
You weren't there to claim it.
Yeah, I was not. And I think the part that hurt most is that girl, I had told her like, I want you to be the first one that we put on the Instagram page. So she kind of took advantage of that. She's like, I'm the first one. So she took it and she made it her own.
Jeez. Yeah. Did you kind of have like a small high school where like you could spotlight every single senior, or?
It was an average size. It wasn't like a whole, like we could do every senior. It was an average size school. Probably, I think in my class we had like 600, probably 700 people that graduated. So it's not a big school, but it was
that's a good size.
600 people,
That's a good size. What is your strategy to finding work and clients or models?
So a lot of my work stems from like family and friends. As of recent, one of my friends, she really wanted to film like a dance video because she's into like K-pop and stuff, and she's not gonna get to do it for like KCC because she's about to graduate, so it's not gonna work out. And I was like, we should like record something, which is kind of like pushed me to want to go buy a gimbal.
Right.
I'm like, okay, now I promised her this, so I kind of had to do it. But we brought it up and it's pretty cool. And I just told my friends like, we should just make like a separate Instagram if we wanted to, and I could take pictures of all of us in like cool outfits and everything, and it'll be like a cool
that sounds
thing.
fun. Yeah, definitely just creating while you're already having fun. Like you're already out there doing something, why not just like capture it? Like definitely. I think before you get a gimbal, like if you really want to mess with like smooth movement, depending on how big your tripod is, because I've got like that light like travel tripod, and I've got this like heavy duty video tripod. Like if you've got something like the light one, you could just keep it folded, put the camera on it, and like the weight will help with like keeping it stable. And if you record in like 60 FPS or something, you could slow stuff down, warp stabilizer on Premiere. So like I think you could experiment with like smooth footage there, like sort of kind of gimbal movement to like get the feeling of holding a big stick with a camera on it, because those gimbals are pretty heavy when it comes, because you've got the big stick of a rig and then you've got the camera on top. So just getting those like movements down. I used just like my tripod as a gimbal for a good while, like before I actually got one. So like I think that's a good starting point with gimbals as well. Yeah,
for sure, because it's gonna take me a while to save up. But yeah, I've seen people do that, and I was kind of like, maybe I don't have to get a gimbal right now. I'll probably just wing it and find other ways.
Yeah, you can definitely get by with it. I mean, sometimes I get lazy too, so like if I've got a tripod set up, like somebody's speaking and I would want to get like B-roll gimbal footage, but I just don't have the time to switch all that out because the person I'm interviewing is right there. I'll just use the tripod. Like I did some work with Honda and like had a guy stand up to like introduce the cars and stuff, and it's like I didn't have time for them to like roll out the car, roll out the next car, and like break down the whole setup. I just grabbed the tripod and just went around the car, like gimbal movements and stuff, and then set right back up. Okay, you guys can roll in the next car, and just in time for people to like not waste more time. And like if we're already there, you can definitely get by with it as long as you like have it in a good frame rate where you can slow it down. You could warp stabilize it, like whatever you need to do to stabilize, then I don't think it really matters as long as it looks smooth. What does success mean to you personally, and how do you measure it in your own life?
I guess the cliche, I don't know. I've always been that person where I will say I'm a perfectionist, but I've also found a way to be like content with what I do. So to me, success is, I'm not a big like fame person. I've always said if my work is the one that gets the recognition, fine by me.
Right.
To me, that's, if I find people who like support and like my stuff, that's success to me, especially if it's something that I'm doing out of love and like, oh, I really like
passion.
this. Passion,
for sure.
And I guess that's how I define it, and that's how I basically go through everything. I have a great group of friends where I can bounce stuff off with them, and I have one friend that she's actually a film major, and I've been taking tips from her, and she's been teaching me. So it's just that kind of stuff.
Following the passion, making sure the passion doesn't get sidetracked or get pushed away with life stuff. I guess that sounds successful. That like you don't have to worry too much about life when you've got your passion. For sure. I've always wondered with the like film major stuff and like film minor, how does it compare to like, I don't want to say like the real world, but like creating like in the real world, or either for like professional work or creative work? Like what kind of stuff do you learn?
So at least from what I learned from my friends, so funny story, I didn't change my minor until like halfway through the summer, so I didn't get any classes for my minor, but from what I learned for her, I feel like in film, especially when you're like still in college and experimenting with it, it's very much whatever you want to do. It's you like you enter into like film competitions, and it's stuff that you created because you wanted to, and you had the idea, instead of somebody telling you like, oh, I want you to film this. So I like it because especially at this point where you're still learning, it's very much whatever you want to film, whatever you feel is going to be the best.
Very project based too. I imagine. I feel like I'm taking the wrong film classes because I'm taking electives that are theater classes. Are they theater classes too?
They're theater.
A lot of the people in those theater classes are very theater people, like plays and stuff, and like I just do not connect with these people at all. Like I'm more of like the commercial freelance video photo guy, and I'm there because I like film, like making videos, but not the same kind of, there's film and there's videography, there's filmmaking and there's videography, and I feel like I'm the videography side, and there's these theater kids who are very film, plays, like I'm in a class right now called The Business of Film, and I'm like, I do business in film, like I freelance, but the class is primarily about like, how do you get a job in the film industry? Like you're going to be a production assistant. How do you get casted in a movie, directing, things like that, like the filmmaking, cinema. I'm like, geez, maybe I can learn something from this, maybe not, but I kind of feel like the outlier because I'm not a big movie guy. Yeah. So yeah.
No, I am a big movie person.
Yeah.
I really want to work with music videos. I like
those are
short,
fun.
Like kind of sets and everything.
Yeah.
I was a theater kid, so I do kind of relate more to them.
Of course. Yeah.
But no, yeah, I'm not the best. Like, I know people know so much about film. I'm not that kind of person. I have like my select few that I like, and I'm like, oh, that's good.
Yeah, I'm not a movie geek because like how I think of it is like I'd rather be making stuff and then learning stuff hands-on than like watching like a bunch of stuff for a long time. That's how I think of it. It's like there's all these people who like acclaim themselves to be like cinephiles or whatever, and they just like such movie geeks, and there's like a couple in my class and they just like can answer every question my professor's asking about movies, and it's like, have you made anything? Like, do you go like, you know, all these like filmmaking techniques and these directors and all these names of people, but do you know how to actually create something? Like that's kind of the difference that I see, where it's like you can be a fan of all these created stuff and be a consumer, but I'd rather be the producer, like producing the stuff. And it also bothers me sometimes in that class too, because they'll be like, we'll have guest speakers and be like, this is where you can get on the ladder and work up the ladder and stuff. And from like a producing point of view, I'm like, I'd rather own the ladder. Like I'd rather like own it and do my own thing and like build it myself. I don't know. It's just different mindsets of either wanting to be hired or be the one hiring. Like, I don't know. I think it's interesting. I think that my theater classes, my theater electives just kind of give me a different perspective on things from like consumer, producer, also difference between film and video, maybe. Also just understanding how to work with theater people too, because I feel like I might have to deal with that in the future. So, I mean, that's a benefit that I can think of right now with like being able to talk to actors and stuff. Because I've heard that like a lot of directors are very scared to talk with actors because like they feel like, I mean, kind of feel like in the position that I'm in too, it's like it's two different realms of like you've got the director who's very like film, cinema, like this is how I want things set up technically, and then you've got the theater people who are very, maybe, what would it be right to say, like emotionally invested into like the characters and stuff, and not very of the technical side. So it's like I think having both skills would be very important to like be empathetic to talk to someone who's creative emotionally, like with their acting and stuff, and then also being able to connect with technical people at the same time. I think that'd be a good skill to have. But yeah, long tangent, but let's get into the content spotlight, wrapping up now. What content have you seen recently that was cool and you would want to spotlight?
So I have a friend, her name is Whiskey. She's huge on social media. Like, she has a big following. Oh, wow. She's very creative also. She used to make these really funny YouTube videos. They're so, I know if she sees it, she's gonna be so mad.
What would it be about?
She did a lot of them during quarantine.
Okay.
It was like
valid.
The cringy kind of YouTube things, like wake up in the morning, but it was kind of like a comedy twist on it. Yeah. So recently she made a really cool video, like, well, it's a reel, and it was her voiceover, and she went to New York, so she put out like a little graphic of an airplane, her face, and then her going to New York. And I love that kind of stuff. Yeah. So because I remember one of the reels I made was also really like heavily edited. Not a lot of people liked it. I loved it. I thought it was funny. So seeing her stuff, I'd be like, maybe I can take another jab at like, being funny. Just
inspiration with stuff, for sure. Yeah. No, I love that. Especially with like the funny YouTube aspect of it. Like, I think that's cool to experiment with. Yeah. What was her name again?
Whiskey.
Where can we find her?
So her Instagram username, her @ is Whiskey Ignacio. It's Wiski Ignacio. Yeah, so
gotcha. Cool.
I'm pretty sure you'll find her pretty quick.
If anybody wants cool, funny YouTube content, there you go.
She has fashion also. She's for everybody.
Fashion.
So if you guys follow her, let her know that it was because of me.
So does she kind of help out with like the KCC stuff and like Luminescent at all, or is this kind of like a separate friend?
It's separate. Okay. she built her own brand like from the start, because she's
cool.
not from here, she's from the Philippines. And then she moved over here in 2021. So she started her own stuff. That's why I was like, I really got the idea of like, just go out there and do whatever you want, because that's how she started. She was like, I just did whatever I wanted. If people didn't like it, okay, but it would help her navigate to like, where can I go for people to like more.
Especially during quarantine, like you're just stuck. That was a bad time.
That really was a bad
especially
time.
For work. Like all my clients were gone, and like I had work lined up and potential referrals from one client who was going to refer me for another project to another company, and like it's gone. Everything. It was so bad. But let's get down to business in the business 101 section. Doesn't have to be business, it could be mindset as well. What business or mindset tips would you give to someone either going to get started or to help them grow?
If you're going to start, I want to say don't focus too much on copying somebody else's content. I'm the kind of person where I like being unique. I take pride in that. So it's okay to take inspiration, but don't focus on somebody's video and be like, I have to do it like this, because that's how they blew up. Because people like personality. People want to know what you think and how you feel, and it's not going to be the same. Everybody's different. Somebody that needs inspiration right now, that's in it, I just talk with your friends. That's what I do. I feel like that's the best kind of stuff, especially if your friends are creative also. You guys bounce around ideas and
just find inspiration, don't copy. Basically. I remember when I was first doing my first wedding, I follow a couple guys who are wedding videographers, and I was like, I need to like know what people are looking for. So like I studied like all their content, not gonna copy like what they exactly do, but it's like, okay, I know that couples are going to be looking for these kinds of shots. Couples are going to be looking for these kinds of moments to include into this. Or if they're speaking parts with like the pastor, or speaking parts with the vows or something, this is what people want to hear. And my first wedding video and how I presented myself there, like the photographers there and like the bride and groom that I've like done a lot of wedding videos before, but it's like, no, this is my first wedding. So I'm glad that I pulled off that illusion from like studying others and taking inspiration from others and then making my own project from it. And they loved it. They loved with how it came out. I was really happy with it, especially with weddings too. I think it's appropriate to call it like a wedding film. Like instead of it just being like another commercial video or something, I think it earns that respect of being a film, like a short film.
I saw it. It was really good.
Thank you. Because it's a life-changing story, and you're watching all that unfold. And I think there's the characters, there's a story, there's an emotional aspect to it. So I think it's a film. Treating it as a film just makes it more unique and creative and higher standing, I guess. But that's about it from me. Where can people find you?
Well, if you want to follow my Instagram, it's at ODIEXCLUSIVE. I can spell. And I'm really only on Instagram, so if you want to follow me there, there's more content coming in though. I've been recording a lot of stuff, like how I was saying, like just get quick shots or wherever you can.
That's awesome.
So I'm planning to bring out more content. But also if you want to follow my photograph, like my photography page, it's Odie's Orbit, which I like it, O and O. It's ODIS and then Orbit.
Cool. Awesome. I got some good content coming out. Excited to see that. I've liked the stuff that you've been putting out. Like it's a good twist. Like I've noticed it. And not to sound stalkerish, but when I was gonna message you today just to check if you were coming, I noticed you changed your profile picture, and I'm like, that's a cool portrait. Like you're going at it. Like that's awesome to see.
I needed a brand change, I'll be honest.
Me too. Like I've been taking like photos of myself too, to like not only for the podcast, but like personal branding. I think personal branding is very important, and like the brand of yourself that you can associate a face with. Like I think that's very important, to not just have like a faceless thing. There's an actual person behind it that you can talk to. Hopefully relate with. But that's the episode with Odalis. Thank you for joining. You can follow my Instagram and TikTok at jeffrey.scott_ for daily clips. Make sure to follow on Spotify and subscribe on YouTube for weekly podcast episodes every Wednesday at 12 p.m. Central Standard Time. Thanks for watching. See you next week.